Carl, NAHB has a 10-point, I'll put it up on the screen, has a 10-point housing plan that is not an overnight solution. In order to have someone who knows what they're doing at a job site, they have to be trained. And one of the points on the plan is about job training, workforce development specific to housing. Without having to spend an hour going point by point, what can you tell us about NAHB's 10-point plan?
Yeah, no, it's our um, our desire now, this being an election year. We want to make sure that housing it is a part of that presidential discussion, and so the 10-point plan is our here's our plan. Now try and get this out and talk to by all the candidates. It is definitely high level and very long term solutions. You follow each point of the plan. Are you going to succeed in building more houses? No, but you're going to be able to educate your constituents that these are things that have got to be done if we want to work on this problem. I think workforce is probably one that can be very easily done locally, and it doesn't require spending of money. It requires changing some minds. If we can make it cool to be in shop class, if we can make it a real desirable end game, you graduate high school and go to a trade school, that will bring more people into our workforce, and that will lower the cost of housing. Not because those people are making less money, but because there's more people working and they can do more and more quickly build the homes. Um, you know, on a personal level, my nephew went to welding school and graduated in 3-4 months. He's 19 years old, and there's weeks where he makes more money than I do after being in the workforce for 30 years. I love that. I love that. That shows that trades provide not jobs but careers, and I think that's something that we need to get parents to understand, guidance counselors to understand, and not just college as the solution.
When we were in Colorado for the 2024 Colorado Spring National Conference, we visited the Cherry Creek Innovation Center. And one of the big chunks for CCIC was a building corner. It wasn't a corner, it was a gigantic part of the school where kids were learning they're being equipped and trained to graduate from high school with trade, a skill that they could immediately take out into the workforce, building homes, working on job sites.
Yeah, no, that place, I mean, that was amazing to see, and I think everybody should do that. And those kind of training facilities that's a way so that you can become a productive part of society. That's the goal. And our we work with facilities like that. Our Home Builders Institute, hbi.org is the website. We do curriculum for places like Cherry Creek. We also work with the military. You're coming out of the military, your last 6 months, you can go from driving a tank to being an electrician. We do a lot of work in the corrections facilities. If you're going to come out of prison in a certain number of years, you can learn a trade and come out and get a job. And new construction is perfect for that. And then in schools, high schools, middle schools, even now we have a book that the Michigan home builders created that goes to elementary schools. And the state of Michigan is going to put one of those books on every desk, K-8. And it just says here's some ideas of what you might like to do. So I think that's something that is just that's a long term part of the solution. But the more so the average age of an electrician in America is 53 years old. That's not good. That doesn't mean that we have a lot of people coming up, right? And that's why you can make so much money right now. So if you're 15 and you're like, I'm not so sure I like reading all these books, and then read the books on how to be an electrician and start working. And if you want to go to college later, great. Get a business degree, start your own business. Um, you can have all that. It's not a one or the other, but we need to get people who can do the work, uh, and so that we can have more affordable housing. And the 10-point plan really is our way of saying, um, at any level of government, pick some of these, focus on them, and you're going to see success. It's not that you don't do all of them. You just find the ones that fit your community and dive in.
So on NAHB's 10-point housing plan, Carl, as I look at it, you've said before that there are some things that locals can do and some things locals can't do. But things that locals can do, looking at the plan, at the top of the list, either by design or happy accident, is eliminate excessive regulations, promote careers in skilled trades. Supply chain issue is not a local issue. Federal tax legislation is not a local issue directly. Overturning inefficient local zoning rules is very much a local issue. Permitting roadblocks, alleviating permitting roadblocks is a local issue. Adopting reasonable and cost-effective building codes is a very local issue. Reduction of local impact fees and upfront taxes. Looking at that 10-point plan, looking at that 10-point plan, a lot of that is local. Locals really can have a huge impact on alleviating the housing challenges in their communities.
No, the most impact. And that's part of the fun, I think, right? For an elected official at the city or county level, you can have the most direct impact. And I think regulation, that's seen as a negative from my perspective. It's seen as a way to ensure safety and longevity from the elected official perspective. But I don't think it is a negative. But I think one way to find a solution there that maybe can keep both sides happy is kind of set up a development shot clock. And the way to think about it, so every day that the shovels aren't in the ground, that's adding cost to the house. And so if we can speed up the process of getting the development idea or the housing plan from introduction to the city to shovels in the ground, that's going to make the house cost less in the end. And so while you debate which regulations and which fees and which things there are going to stay in your city, expedite that permitting process so that while you're discussing, we can still knock $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 off the cost of the house because the house can get done sooner. So we can start now and keep fighting while we figure out all the other stuff.
Well, Carl, you've talked about a development shot clock. Is there something off the shelf that Johns Creek, Georgia, or Fort Worth, Texas, or Spokane, Washington can get their hands on to kind of be a framework to help them have their own local shot clock?
Yeah, a lot of cities are implementing that. I will send some examples, but really it's just look at your staff and your abilities and put a day count on that. And there are technologies now. There are some companies that are using different versions of AI. You can program it so that this is what correct permit and design looks like, and if it fits, it passes, and that can be done in 3 seconds on the computer. It's very binary. It doesn't allow input from the YIMBY NIMBY banana crowd. It just is done. That's a great way to look at it. But really, it's just how if the permit were walked through every department with a city staffer in tow, how fast could that be done? And eliminating the need for the builder to go to each department and then be told, well, you got to go back over there, and then be told over there you got to go back over here. just make it a real clear process. And that can even cost more. You could add on a little fee to make that possible. It's still going to make the cost less.
Carl Eckhart, National Association of Home Builders. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your equipping with this edition of Strong Community Solutions. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you, Ben, and thanks everybody else. This is one of our favorite organizations, and I appreciate all the cooperation and education.